Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be reviewing and testing the new NYX Professional Makeup Can't Stop Won't Stop Full Coverage Foundation. The NYX team were kind enough to send me the full range, which I have here in a lovely slick black box with all the shades, all 45 lovely shades in little tester pots, which is great. And they've obviously sent me 3 full-size bottles of what they think my shade might be. I can see here that there is a primer that they have to go with this foundation. It's obviously out of stock, and we have the NYX Professional Makeup sponge and a handy timer if you want to prove the claim that this foundation does last for 24 hours. I won't be testing that out today. This is the first time the High Street has come out with such a large shade range, which is why it's such a highly anticipated launch. So I'm going to be testing this out today, testing the colour, the finish. I'm going to do a wear test. This will be a first impressions video. I've not used this foundation before. I have used their Total Control Drop foundations and I love that product, so I'm really hopeful that I'm going to like this one. So the description of this foundation on the website is as follows. Lightweight, waterproof and pigmented AF. Our new Can't Stop Won't Stop full coverage foundation hustles as hard as you do. This comfy liquid formula comes in 45 flattering tones that don't transfer. Every creamy shade glides on smooth, delivering matte coverage and colour that stays true for up to 24 hours. Our little overachiever also works to control shine and mattify your complexion all day long. But it doesn't stop there. This foundation is comedogenic, I think that's non-clogging, and suitable for normal oily combination and sensitive skin types. It is 15 quid for a 30ml size bottle, and it does look like on the Boots website that the foundation is within the 3 for 2 on selected products offer. That is a little bonus right there. Okay, so those were the details of the product. If you want to see me now review and test the product, I'm going to do a wear test as well with the foundation. If you want to see all that and whether I would recommend the product, then please keep on watching my video, okay? Thank you very much. Alright, so before I go ahead and try and match my shade, I'm just going to prep my skin. I have put on my moisturiser, I've cleansed and toned and I've moisturised, but I do want to go ahead and put on another primer. My favourite primer is the Hydrating Base from Kat Von D. It's very dirty, sorry, I use it a lot. And it has a really cool little stopper on the pump, so you can kind of put that back on and it will stop the pump from pumping out the liquid, which I think is such a genius idea. So I'm just going to put on a couple of pumps of this into the skin. My skin it can get oily. It's very combination, so it can get oily in my T-zone, but it's also quite dry, so I do like to go heavy with my moisturizers and my primers. Okay, so looking at the shades, there's so many, I cannot decide which one my colour will be. I know with the Total Control Drop foundations, I do have to mix a couple of colours. I normally mix 13, which is golden, which they also have in this range, and also number 12, which is classic tan. My skin tone is warm, it has got those yellow undertones, but I still feel like it's on the more neutral side of that warm spectrum. Okay, so let me try the 3 that they sent to me. The hygiene sticker is very good because it doesn't come off very easily. Hello? Oh. So I'm going to try neutral tan first. I feel like it's okay on this part of my skin, but because I have quite a bit of pigmentation around the chin area, I feel like if I blended that into this area, it will start to look a bit grey. It looks okay on screen, but in person it's a little bit too pink on my skin. I'm going to try Caramel next. This is actually shade 15, and I don't know whether the numbers have any bearings to like darkness of shade. I think they vary in undertones, etc. So you might want to read the description on the website before you buy. I can't open these. Yeah, so next to that one you can see how much warmer it is. This is definitely a bit too neutral for me. It's kind of airing on pink. This one looks promising, Caramel. And then I will just swatch Classic Tan. Ah, okay. So it's not as pink as this one, I feel. I feel like it's got more of a yellow undertone than this, even though on the description on the website did say pink for this one. I'm going to just test out 13. I want to compare how it looks against Caramel. do feel like number 13 is slightly less orange. It's slightly less warm than caramel. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to mix a couple of the shades. I'm gonna go with golden, which is actually this one I've put on here, the last one. Golden and classic tan. So I'm gonna dot on a bit of golden with my fingers around this area here, and I'm going to pop this on my forehead too. I'm gonna blend this bit out using a brush by NYX. I think it is a foundation brush. Number 3 it is. I haven't put a lot on. I'm gonna put on another layer, and I can see what they are saying about how matte it is, but it doesn't feel like a drying type of matte so far. So it is slightly warm. You can tell the difference between like this bit of my face and my cheeks, but then there is a difference there anyway. My natural kind of tones are different. The finish is really nice though. The finish does not look full coverage. I've not put a lot on, but even then I feel like even if you built up the coverage, it wouldn't feel cakey or look cakey. It still looks like my skin. Okay, so I'm gonna add a bit of classic tan to my cheek areas. Dot this on, and just in the center and on my nose. So I'm gonna blend this in and keep it on my cheek area. I don't want to blend it too much down into my chin area because that's when it starts to look grey. Gosh, that is so nice. Okay, that is a real nice finish. For a full coverage foundation, it does not look cakey at all. I mean, you can still see a nice glow here. You can still see my skin, but I feel like it gives a real nice even finish. And as you can see, even though the website described classic tan as a pink undertone, it doesn't look pink on my skin. Okay, I've been sitting here for about a few minutes and I am confused as to how it is so matte. No foundation comes up this matte on me. Even though I've got dry skin, I always look quite dewy and I always have to set my base. But I'm looking at my skin thinking, I don't really feel like I need to set it. Even though I feel like that would be a bad move because my smile lines always show up if I don't set it. Even if I do set it, they will show up. But I feel like if I, even now, you are starting to see the smile lines. I'm going to do my concealer next, and then I will see if I'm going to set this. Alright, for concealer, I'm going to use a mix. I'm going to use the highlight end of the NYX, what's it called? Sculpt and Highlight Duo. I don't know whether they do this anymore. I'm going to use this to colour correct. I will use the sponge to blend this out, shall I? I haven't wet it because I couldn't be bothered, but it's doing just fine without being wet. The next concealer I'm going to use is more for my highlighting. It is the NARS Creamy Concealer in Ginger. Right, so I am going to set underneath the eyes. I'm going to use the powder I'm holding now. It's the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation Powder in Cashew. I'm going to put a little bit of this underneath the eyes. Okay, so even though the rest of the skin does look very matte still, I am just going to set the areas that I know I have problems with. So around my smile lines and the T-zone, I am going to set those areas really slightly with this powder as well. Just going to warm up my skin with MAC's Dark Golden Mineralized Skin Finish Powder. Alright, I'm going to do the rest of my face off of the camera and I will be back to give you my final thoughts and feelings and reviews about this foundation. Okay, so what are my final thoughts? Let's start with the colour, shall we? I really like the colour. It looks pretty true to what it looks like on screen, which is what I'm hoping it looks like on camera. I know I had to mix a couple of the colours. I guess the reason why I did mix the two shades was to colour correct. So in effect, I was really only using the darker shade to colour correct my pigmented areas around my chin and on my forehead. I could have used a concealer, I guess, to do that with. I just have a personal preference of using foundation to colour correct. So I wouldn't necessarily say that me having to mix the foundations is something something negative to say about the shade range. It's just because that's a personal preference from myself. So that's just me, that's just my skin tone, and it is quite uneven, so I have had to mix to get to this shade, but I am really happy with the colour of it. I think it's really nice. It is a touch warm, I would say. It's a touch yellow than my natural skin tone. Rather, it looks slightly warmer than grey, if anything. So I'm overall happy with the colour. So in terms of coverage and finish, it is exactly what they claim it to be. It is a full coverage foundation and it is a matte finish. It's not full coverage to the extent that it is getting rid of that natural glow. Like you can see here, it's still a really nice sheen to my face. I've not put on any highlighter and it's not cakey. There was a point where I had just finished the foundation and I was kind of doing my concealer, and after I just put my powder on, where it felt like it was a little bit dry, like I felt around my mouth it was a little bit, a tiny bit like taut. But that has since kind of gone away, and I think now my natural oils are starting to come through my skin. It feels fine. I feel like if you have dry skin, however, like really dry skin, you might struggle with this foundation, or you may have to really moisturize and really prep well before applying this. If you have oily skin, I don't think you're gonna have a problem at all. So in terms of the price, it is 15 quid, which for a high street foundation, I feel like it is on the higher scale. For example, L'Oreal True Match, which comes in exactly the same size, that is £9.99, I believe. So this is on the higher end. Having said that, for £15, I really feel like you're getting a really good product. I feel like it's comparable to high-end products. I think it's comparable to like the NARS's and the MAC Studio Fix. So overall, would I recommend this foundation? On my first impression, yes, I would recommend the foundation, bearing in mind your skin type. But for my skin type, dry to combination, I would recommend it. I am going to do a wear test for the rest of the day. I'm not going to do 24-hour wear test, however, because that's ridiculous and I'm old and I will want to go to sleep at some point. It is 2:30 now. The old husband surrounded by his beloved almond milk. I won't tell that story right now, but there is a story behind this screensaver. So it's 2:30 now. I will see how long I wear it for and I'll let you know in the wear test. Hello, so last check-in and it is nearly 10:30. So it's been nearly 9 hours, 2:30, 3:30, 4:35, 36, 37, oh no, nearly 8 hours. And this is what my skin looks like. As you can see, it still looks really nice. I thought I was going to have more of an issue around my smile lines, and I do have some foundation around there, kind of set into them, but not nearly as much as I thought I was going to have. I've got a nice kind of shine going on, so my natural oils have kind of peeked through. I do feel slightly, and I had felt throughout the day, slightly dry around like my chin area, and that is the only place where I can see that it is slightly dry looking, just around here really, but it's nothing very noticeable at all. It's just very slightly. It doesn't bother me. I am very impressed overall. I do feel like I have foundation on. It's not completely lightweight. It is a full coverage foundation. However, I don't feel really cakey with it. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? Really impressed. It stayed put. It looks really flawless, I think. Colour still looks really nice. It hasn't changed throughout the day. And also my lipstick has not budged either. I have not topped this up, or my eye makeup or anything. So that was my review. Thank you again for watching. I hope you found this useful. And thank you again to NYX Professional Makeup for sending me out all the foundations. I really appreciate it. So thank you.